Throughout the last 2 years, I've made a bunch of paintings about the human body and how technology, mainly computers, have changed the way we see and experience the world. To me, the body is becoming dissected and exploded into a million bits. In general, we exist in the real world, where we interact with people through speech, eye contact, and body language. But all of us are also part of another world, where our movements, our desires, and our dreams all are mined by supercomputers that monetize our very existence. So my task as a painter is one which involves an age-old problem. It's how to paint a person. Just as the human body is made up of a conglomeration of biological and technical processes, my paintings are both made by my hand as well as more mechanical processes. I have incorporated the use of a plotter and outfitted it with a paintbrush to remove my hand from the work entirely. Digital processes have also become more important in the creation of my work. I have photographed paintings while they're still in progress and then selected a single color in Photoshop and created a mask from this color, which is then screen printed back onto the painting as a glitched image. In my work, humans are represented as a mashup of these digital components. There's flesh and blobbiness, which represents the earthly realm, and crisp edges and pixels, which represents the digital. All of these disparate components coalesce to become what we are today. In the series of works I'm proposing for this exhibition, I would like to make a series of paintings that track human evolution into the digital realm. These will take place in the past, present, and future, but I won't look at these different eras as if they existed at different times. They will exist more as a cycle, similar to how Giambattista Vico wrote about cyclical history in The New Science. One point of artistic inspiration that deals with Vico and time is James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake, which is a jumble of languages, styles, and words. The last sentence of the book becomes the first sentence. There are abstract characters and situations, however they're nearly impossible to discern. In my paintings, I often make reference to more vintage-looking computers and artifacts that exist in a time which is difficult to place. In fact, the people themselves are a cacophony of avatars in real human flesh. For a period of time, I was allowing these paintings to unfold organically. Often accidents and spills determined compositional structure. The paintings needed to be built up over time, and for this reason, the preliminary stages were often approached in a very haphazard fashion. In the last few months, I made a very simple change, and it has also changed my paintings. I started stealing from other people's compositions. If I was going to do a portrait, I started looking at how people made portraits over the years. Where should the head be? Where do the hands go? I feel this has given the painting some structure that allows the viewer an easy entry point into the work. I also began to embrace the color palette which resonated with me the most. The earthly red and brown tones that are reminiscent of the human organs became more at home in my work as they glide with more fluorescent colors we associate more with the technological or unnatural. I make a lot of work, and as you know, I've got 2 shows coming up at the end of the year. I've already spoken to the museum about the final show and the quantity of the work I will be making. Basically, my approach is to make a ton of work at my normal pace, and then work with the museum through their own curatorial procedures to determine which works should be shown and in what manner. I am open to curatorial suggestions in this regard, especially considering since there's a potential for 5 other people to be in this exhibition. Space could be limited. Nonetheless, in my conversations with the museum, it was said that they will do their best to accommodate my artistic vision. If there's enough space for this, is still to be decided. So let's get to what I actually want to make. For this exhibition, I'd like to create one large history painting. This will be done on a 12-foot by 6-foot canvas, which will be shown in a landscape configuration. The painting will be a multi-figural composition. All of the paintings in this series of works are all about the story of electricity. I feel like electricity is the perfect subject to explore since we often associate it with technology. But electricity is also what makes our bodies work and our hearts beat. It's something already inside us, working all the time, but something we see as being external as well. In this regard, it's closely linked to ideas concerning artificial life, or as it is more commonly called now, artificial intelligence. Of course, through containing electricity, we've also become able to create computers that can stimulate life. Through these attempts, we've discovered the best way to render the digital world is through the use of mathematical equations that create fractals. This is where it gets weird. The rise of PCs was actually something that developed alongside the use of psychedelic drugs. There was a bit of an East-West Coast battle going on. On the East Coast, you had IBM, which was representative of the corporate world, and then the more hippie aesthetic of the Bay Area, which saw technology as something which could truly be liberating. My paintings see these cyborgs, that's us, as something which also can be a liberating concept, but something that has also been used to control. The term cyberdelic is something which I identify closely with. However, I'm not interested in seeing the virtual as a form of escapism. Science fiction has consistently been quite good at creating a fantasy world that also addresses contemporary issues. In addition to making paintings, I have also been writing short fiction stories about characters who exist in this world that I'm creating. In addition to the large multi-figural compositions depicting evidence that happened simultaneous in the past, present, and future, I also want to make these creatures from these shaped canvases. I initially got this idea from a puzzle and thinking about how I could make a work that could take up a whole wall but easily be packed up. While making prototypes for this, I discovered that it's better to make a more amorphous shape which can be interpreted in a wide variety of ways to make different types of creatures. Each component can be used in a variety of ways. For instance, what looks like a head in one configuration can be turned upside down and used as an elbow in another. By using a French latch on the back, I can easily turn these canvases in a variety of ways. When it comes time to hang, I'll photograph each one and make a configuration in Photoshop first, and then attempt to make a similar configuration on the wall. I'm really excited about these pieces since they already seem to fit with what I've been doing in size and shape. I also like using the shadows and the fluorescent glow behind them that give them an otherworldly feeling. Upon completing this first attempt, I couldn't help but be reminded of one of my influences, David Cronenberg, who often used these types of body tech devices in his films. Also, my paintings often have blobs that are so far abstracted that it's difficult to make out any type of recognizable form. By being able to shift these abstract shapes around, I can create a variety of creatures from one pack of paintings. Yet they still represent the same thing. They're entities that are constantly shifting and moving and evolving, individuals with autonomy that can also combine and become a network.